Welcome to a special Dream Big edition of Generosity Experience Live. On today's episode, how can data help turn dreams into reality? Featuring Kyra Smith, Client Enablement Manager at Neon One. And featuring Dana Snyder, Founder and CEO of Positive Equation. And now, here's your host, Tim Sarantonio.
Welcome to a very special episode of Generosity Experience Live, a live stream show where we look at the ways that nonprofiteers like you can get savvier about the ways technology can better connect you with your community of generosity. I'm your host, Tim Sarantonio, Director of Corporate Brand at Neon One. Now, no matter when or where you watch our show, you'll love the engaging and valuable conversation to come. If you're watching live with us today, please jump in the comments and share your thoughts with us throughout the show, where you're from, things like that. We have a different giveaway for each episode. We are giving away a big one today. One lucky winner is going to win a gimbal or one of those fancy camera stabilizers that all your kids' favorite YouTube stars use. Yet, because it's a special episode, we'll also have some special surprises in store for you. In just a few minutes, we'll be joined live by our special guests, Kyra Smith, Head of Client Enablement at Neon One, and Dana Snyder, Founder of Positive Equation and creator of the upcoming monthly Giving Summit. But first, it's time for the big number. $2.1%. That's the decrease in charitable donations reported by Giving USA in their newest report, one adjusted for inflation. And while we can debate the nuances of this particular report, signals something very important that's impossible to ignore anymore. It's a warning for nonprofits everywhere, a warning that trust in the sector is weakening and that significant declines in giving could be right over the horizon. It's about looking beyond the fact that overall giving is fairly stable right now to the signs of weakness that can easily manifest itself in significant declines long term. It's about reckoning with how the sector is relying more and more on a small group of wealthy donors, meaning that the loss of one key supporter can put your nonprofit at the risk of shutting down. It's about the fact that people are still giving. They're giving time, money, and talent to causes that they support every day, but they aren't necessarily giving to nonprofits. And it's about how, when they do give to nonprofits, it's too often a dead end. It's about how the typical supporter of a nonprofit organization is giving once and then never giving again. All of these things are threatening the long-term viability of the nonprofit sector. They're the reason this alarm is ringing. And if we want this to stop, we're going to have to be prepared to make some big changes, starting with our approach to technology. Now, this isn't what it was supposed to be like. In fact, it was supposed to be the opposite. For years, decades even, we've been fed a story about how technology was going to usher in a golden age of philanthropy. Imagine a leader at a small local nonprofit who's juggling multiple responsibilities, fundraising, events, volunteer coordination, who's able to manage it all thanks to their team of digital assistants with technology at her fingertips that automatically personalizes all the thank you messages and schedules all the follow-up calls with relevant notes and creates tailored appeals, not to mention 50 other meticulous time-consuming tasks that they take off her plate. Our leader can then focus on strategic planning and building meaningful connections with their supporters. That was the hope. And before I share what I've witnessed after personally working with over 1,000 nonprofits over my career at Neon One, I actually want to hear from you first. What hopes and dreams do you have around technology? What do you want to be able to do because of things working as expected? I'm going to give you a minute to answer here, and I'll take a closer look at your responses with Dana Snyder coming up in a few minutes. But Chris, why don't you join us, and can you quickly explain to our viewers how can they win today's pretty kick-ass prize?
Tim, check this out. I even brought a gimbal of my own here. Now, this is not the exact same product, but basically you turn this thing on, it will zip on and straighten your camera out so that you can film nice, smooth video. You can see the question there right above your head, Tim. And we really are, yeah, it's right there.
Up right there. Whoa, there we go. It's playing with the interface. Yeah.
Again, what hopes and dreams do you have around technology for your nonprofit? We want you in the comments to answer that question. I can actually put your comments on the screen. Like Ricci says, you just shared.
Yeah.
So Ricci is now going to be entered in on the Neon One wheel, which I'll reveal to you guys in a little bit. And at the end of the show, we're going to spin that wheel and pick a winner of a gimbal. So Tim, I'll throw it back to you. Let's get back to the big number.
Awesome. And looking back to our vision of the sector's tech-enabled future, we can see that the problems have actually been here all along. We were focused on taking the easy route, preferring hands-off digital solutions to the hard, sweaty work of building real, genuine connections with actual flesh and blood people. Now, instead of thriving communities of supporters, what most organizations can be better described is a pile of individual isolated givers, profiles sitting in a nonprofit database and nothing more. While our approach to technology helped get us here, it wouldn't be accurate to describe technology as the problem that sits at the heart of the generosity crisis. The story goes a little like this. The lack of connection that we fostered with our tech-enabled approach has created a real lack of trust amongst supporters. And it's that lack of trust that's fueled the generosity crisis. And trust is a fragile thing, even in the best of times. And this isn't the best of times. Institutional trust is at a all-time low across the board. And it's so long as we're continuing to treat supporters like mere transactions instead of full-fledged partners in our mission, that erosion of trust will continue. And this isn't just an operational issue, it's a moral one. The very fabric of nonprofit missions is at risk as the lifeblood of these organizations, genuine, passionate supporters, drifts away, disillusioned and disconnected. Now imagine the countless potential supporters who turn away because they feel unseen and unvalued. Picture the long-term supporters who become disheartened because their contributions seem to vanish in the void, unacknowledged and underappreciated. And misalignment of goals and assets accelerates staff burnout as well. To pull the sector back from the brink of collapse and set us on a more sustainable path for all, we need to focus first and foremost on rebuilding this trust. And we can rebuild that trust by focusing on what we call the generosity experience. It's not all bummer stuff here, folks. We have solutions and ways out. And so we think, simply put, that the generosity experience is the emotional connection a supporter has with your nonprofit, one that's formed by every single interaction that they have with the organization. Any touch point that a supporter has with your nonprofit, just glancing at social media posts, opening your emails, attending your events, visiting your online giving page for the first time, forms another branch in their overall generosity experience. Let's take a look. Oh, we got a lot of comments going here as well. Very cool. Okay, we got Carrie. I want to see new technologies embraced from the top down. I want everyone at my organization and nonprofits everywhere to feel empowered and comfortable using the tech tools available to us. Love that. And just like what Carrie said, each interaction works to shape that emotional connection. A connection that can be weak, it could be strong, it could be healthy, it could be toxic. That could be very simple or can be very complicated. On a more practical level, those interactions are a result of the actions taken by your staff, by your tech tools, and the supporters themselves. In order for a supporter to be moved by an email, for example, somebody has to write that copy, and the software needs to be used to create and send it. And then your supporter has to actually open the email, read it, and maybe follow its call to action. And in order to resolve the overall generosity crisis, nonprofits need to be forging genuine connections with their supporters, the kinds of connections that foster mutual trust and lay the groundwork for that long-term support. But how can they build these connections? By remaining laser focused on generosity experiences that are personable, memorable, and communal. That's a big piece here. So let's pause again. I'll move myself over here. I love adaptive adventures there. I see Deannis. I want technology to help people feel truly connected to the change that they're helping to fund. And we've talked about this in other episodes too, right? That people don't give to you, they give through you. And so it's all well and good to say all of this. But after a decade of working in nonprofit technology, I've learned that we need to rethink our approach on how we even design these experiences. And you, as a nonprofit leader, have limited capacity, even feel comfortable dreaming big. If you're like me, when I was first starting out as a grant writer, I felt overwhelmed and I didn't even know what resources to trust to even begin to dream, let alone dream big. Dreaming big should not be an exercise in futility. And that is why I'm excited for the special week of events that we have planned beyond today's special show. We have 4 days of practical and actionable workshops over the course of the week, each day only asking 60 minutes tops of your attention. Yet in return, you're going to gain long-term strategic guidance on how to think about technology and coaching on essential topics like donor retention, direct mail, and workflow automation, and all with the chance to connect with fellow leaders like yourselves. While I hope you can join us at Dream Big this week, I'm also thrilled to be setting the tone with today's special episode. It's time for us to put people before money, focus on making our moments magical with supporters, and ultimately putting technology in its rightful place as a part of our team, fully aligned with our goals and objectives. Now, my hope is that the reason you're spending time with us during Generosity Experience Live and events like Dream Big is because you're looking to get better at your work and designing and forging these human connections. The giveaways are fun, but the real reason we're here is to help you. That's why I'm excited to welcome our first guest, Kyra Smith. She does this type of work day in and day out for our clients at Neon One, and she's going to join us right after we hear a little bit more about this month's giveaway.
During today's episode, one lucky live winner will win a DJI Osmo Mobile SE Intelligent Gimbal. This foldable, portable, lightweight stabilizer allows you to create smooth, high-quality video using your cell phone. Make sure you comment during this live broadcast for a chance to win the gimbal. Winners will be announced at the end of the show. Are you ready to dream big? This week is our annual Dream Big conference with sessions Tuesday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesday, join Neon One Senior Content Marketing Manager Abby Jarvis for a discussion on how to use technology to drive better donor retention. Attendees will be eligible to win a DJI Osmo Mobile SE Intelligent Gimbal. Register now at www.neonone.com/dreambig.
Hello.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm awesome.
Good. Well, for folks who don't know who you are,
hmm
how about we start with a little bit of a story of what was your journey toward Neon One?
Yeah, I tend to describe it as like a match made in heaven,
Mm.
simply because I have a great love for technology. I always have, but outside of work, actually prior to starting at Neon One, I was a grassroots organizer. So to actually find a career that married the two, both technology as well as grassroots organizing, it was a great match made in heaven. And then, you know, one of Neon's core values is literally to make good happen. And that is my source, whether personal or professional. So I am more than honored to now also lead a team that is committed to leading and helping amazing nonprofits do just that and making good happen.
Awesome. And so let's actually talk about like client enablement. What exactly is that? We can get into some of the things that you've kind of seen over the course of the year, but when we talk about that type of service, what does that exactly mean, actually?
Yeah. So usually when someone comes into client enablement, it's to be able to utilize the full features of the system. So Neon CRM is a very powerful tool. Sometimes it can be confusing. We are here to make it digestible. We want to provide you with the tools, with the tips to be able to take your ideas further. So it's to be able to enable and basically provide you the keys to your potential to unlock the world wonders of Neon CRM.
Awesome. So over the course of your time, you've worked with a lot of different nonprofits. I know that you even have a bit of a fan club. And so that's why I was excited to have you on here today, because people just love working with you and your team And part of it is that it's that calm that you bring. So what are the struggles that you tend to see people when they're first getting started with a new data platform, actually?
Yeah, I think that, I've been at a place to where I actually started as a consultant here at Neon. So that means that I worked in implementation. And so they sign on, they go through implementation, they're coming from different systems, they have all of this data, right? Sometimes orgs, they don't understand, like, what data do I need to keep? What do I need to, put away to the wayside? So we always say, like, let's get 5 to 7 years of data into the system. Host your historical data somewhere else, but it doesn't necessarily need to be in the system. So I think that honestly, that is kind of the biggest hurdle that most organizations face, is understanding their data.
Yeah, they get kind of freaked out, especially if they've maybe been charged with asking to, move something over, but they weren't the historical person managing those few years, 5, 7 years of data, even before that, right?
Exactly.
Well, okay. So and what I have found, and we kind of talk about this when we talk about generosity experience design a bit, is that trust, even in the data, can either make or break somebody using the system. So first, let's talk about how can people, when they're getting used to things, they're kind of onboarding, feel confident about the system themselves to use it. And then let's extend that into using that type of confidence to build connections with their supporters. So how can somebody get comfortable when they're first starting with a new data system?
I think the first thing is to always be realistic. The systems are huge, so you cannot expect to understand the system from top to bottom immediately. Be nice to yourself, provide yourself some grace, and let's take it by bits by bits. We here at Neon CRM, we look at our clients in a couple different ways. We have clients that are more focused on events. We have more clients that are more focused on membership. We have more clients that are more focused on fundraising. Learning those bits and pieces of the system first and becoming a champion of that particular part of the system will then encourage and ignite you to then learn and apply that same type of technique to other parts of the system. So I think that that's what anything, don't try to eat all of the pie. Cut you out a slice first and take a bite of it, digest it, and then move on to the next.
Or perhaps maybe even a pizza pie. We can kind of drop that.
Pizza.
There you go. Pizza. Well, that's a teaser, folks. Keep getting in those comments, okay? Because we got giveaways that we want to do. Kyra, what I want to hear about the future of client enablement. But I'd love for you, this is kind of a curveball question, not on our storyboard. I try to actually do this, and people hate when I throw curveballs, but this is one that I know that you're going to be fine with. What's a favorite story of success from your work with somebody? And you don't have to name them if you don't feel comfortable doing that, but what is something that you're proud of that you did to work with somebody to see some massive success?
Yeah, one client always comes to mind. I will definitely drop their name. Val from Ride to Revive. She has an amazing organization. And, we work behind the scenes. I'm simply training on the system. I'm the go-to. As Tim said, I've somehow created this fan club of orgs, which I am very honored to hold. But every year for the past year, I've helped her create the sign-up forms for her volunteers, the registrations. And it's a massive event that takes place in Florida for disabled kids that allow them to ride in these exotic, cool cars around
like Batman cars, like the original Batmobile.
Yes, like the absolute best. And so just to know that, like, okay, I'm helping you set up forms and to do this, but this is the magnitude of this event. And it's amazing. So I have to say, by far, that is one of my favorite clients that I've worked with. And it's been an honor to help and assist in that type of event.
So final question for us, because even looking at, and here, and I'll put this up on the screen for us too. Ricci. Okay. Database management's a big challenge, but so's time. Neon has amazing features. Small house, hard to find time to utilize all that power. So tell us, what's the future of the client enablement team for folks like that, actually?
Yeah, so client enablement is coming and swinging really hard. We are trying at this point to position ourselves to offer things that are going to be useful for all different type of client types, right? So someone that's smaller, they may not have all of the resources that a larger organization may have. And so we're looking forward to hosting different type of webinars that would then actually be able to assist our different type of client types. We also have an adoption solution bootcamp that is going live next month for organizations that experience staff churn. So we want to be able to help and assist not only in the ways that we think, but that are actually going to be helpful in what our clients actually need. So more webinars coming up that's going to look at the scale of the nonprofits that we work with, the revenue that they bring in, and also the ways that they utilize the system. So that way we can really target and offer solutions that are useful.
And I know that we're starting to also do some coordination around some of the research that we do, for instance, on recurring giving and stuff like that, and being able to provide that to your team to go,
Yes.
look, we found that recurring givers have a 78% retention rate, for instance. Okay, how do I do that? Like, what do I do? How do I get that set up? So
Yes.
how about you leave us with one final piece of advice, one final tech tip for somebody who's just trying to navigate all the different moving pieces that is technology, even if it's not a Neon tip.
Utilize all of your resources. There's no such thing as a stupid question. If you do not understand, ask. That is going to be the biggest thing that is going to boost your confidence to make you a champion and not only utilizing one of Neon's systems, but any system.
Awesome. Okay. It looks like I saw the big wheel come up for a moment. Kyra, I know you got to get on calls, right? Like you actually said, hey, I want to attend, but I got some stuff going on. So I want to thank you for your time today. And
Awesome.
I know
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, this is so much fun. And we have so much fun planned this week. So a lot of the excitement, a lot of the energy comes from the fact that people are feeling confident. And a big piece of that is you and your team. So I'm really thankful of the work that you do.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Bye, everyone. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. All right.
Are you ready to dream big? All week at 3 p.m. Eastern, join the Neon One team and friends for valuable, informative, and actionable 45-minute sessions. Coming up this Friday, hear from the South Carolina Native Plant Society in a masterclass about how they are implementing workflow automation at their organization. Attendees will be eligible to win a DJI Osmo Mobile SE Intelligent Gimbal. Register now and learn more about all the sessions this week at www.neon1.com/dreambig.
Hi, Dana.
Oh, I had to come in with the mute. Fancy new microphone. You have to unmute on here and you have to unmute on the fancy switcher in front of me.
all the tech stuff, right? All the tech stuff.
Good tech stuff.
Dana Snyder, how are you today?
I am fantastic. It is lovely to be here with you and seeing these amazing comments come through. So always a good day when I can chat with you, Tim, and all the wonderful nonprofits joining in.
Awesome. For folks who for some reason may be unfamiliar with you, Dana Snyder, of Positive Equation and much more, why don't you give us a little background on kind of your journey into the nonprofit sector and what led you here today?
Yeah, it feels like forever ago. If anybody feels like you've lived like multiple lives already, I definitely feel that way. So it started in UCF in college when I was a part of our local dance marathon. Shout out to anybody else who did dance marathons. And so ours was called Nighthon. And I was a participant. And then I loved it so much that I decided to join our executive board. And that really got me excited about philanthropy as a 17, 18-year-old. Oh, thank you so much. Love Missions to Movements. Yes. And then I ended up working for a nonprofit straight out of college for about 2.5 years, did the corporate world thing. And then my fast forward is I did that. And then I realized my heart was still centered back in nonprofits. And so in 2017, I decided to start my business. And 7 years later, here we are hosting a podcast, Missions to Movements. Thank you. Working with organizations on building monthly giving, writing a book that comes out September 3rd, which is like bananas, and speaking and getting to do just like in-person intensives, which we can talk about, like the most fun, honestly. Like I have dreamed so big, Tim, and it is wild that, and I think so many organizations can probably understand this. You feel like you are just grinding forever. Not to say that I'm still not, But to see some dreams start to happen, you have to like literally pause to realize said thing was a dream and then it's like happening. So,
Well, and that was kind of my concern with my monologue today. I'm like, am I starting too much of a bummer here? Because I think that like it's important to take that pause and
yeah.
celebrate when things are really
Heck
rocking it.
yeah.
So, how about, because you've worked with so many folks, why don't you share some of the dreams that you've seen come alive with different nonprofits over the years? Let's kind of,
Oof.
we're leaning on that. We went through the valley. Now we're coming up. The sun is rising, right? So let's hear about some sunshine here.
Yeah, there's so many fun ones. Okay. I would say one, just like more recent, and then I'll kind of like go back in time, is I was just down in Jacksonville working with the Tim Tebow
I
Foundation.
saw the photos. Yeah, they're great.
So fun. And we built out together their 12-month retention plan for their monthly donor program. And I think the coolest thing was they have grown tremendously over the past year. So they have over 20,000 monthly donors now, which is remarkable. And is to really feel. And the other thing that was cool and a dream moment for me was the Defender, one of their monthly giving programs, gives back to fighting human trafficking. And so that's a big cause for me too. So we not only wrote out and brainstormed and dreamed and the 12-month plan, but then literally the next day started to put it into practice, which is super cool. I have years ago when I was running social media for an organization in LA called hashtag Lunchbag, Courtney Kardashian hosted a hashtag Lunchbag event at her house and it blew up our Instagram account. That was pretty remarkable and just overall national exposure for the organization. I've had a monthly giving mastermind client who started with just a couple monthly donors and didn't realize until we jumped on a reunion call that she had now over $5,000 in recurring revenue every single month. Huge. Yeah, amazing. Um, and then I was just revisiting, I have an ads challenge I run. And so I brought on Cassie and with her organization, and she had never ran ads before, had 250 plus new leads. And then also it was her first time being on a podcast with me and having that experience, and her team rallied behind her. So, so many cool firsts, so many new things. I think there's just constantly these dream moments happening, but again, pausing to actually realize how cool it is that they are.
And I think like it is important to build those pauses into how we reflect on our success
Hmm.
and when to do that type of thing. So people can get so overwhelmed with even taking that first step when you're starting to
Yeah.
work with somebody, especially if they're trying to kind of understand where to go with ads or even, a much bigger idea like setting up a monthly giving program. What suggestions do you have on where they can start and what those steps might look like for measurable impact?
Oh my gosh. I mean, one of my first ones. So I have bought so many of these, the full focus planners.
Yeah.
So I am and I have a whiteboard desk, and I'm a big believer in like A, writing things down, but then B, it can feel very daunting, AKA like writing a book or putting a campaign together or building a monthly giving program. And it's like if you think about it that big, it probably is going to give you a little bit of a analysis paralysis, or at least it does in my case. And so I need some things like this where it literally is like, what are your daily big three? Like, what are you working towards weekly or every single day? Small tasks that inch you closer and closer to that goal. And so that's the thing that's really changed for me, is because if I just put like a big audacious goal that I don't have the practical of like literally how am I going to get there, the minute kind of details, then it seems so far fetched. The other thing is I would say what helps with that is having these daily tasks is that you feel momentum. And I think there's something really powerful about energy and
Mm.
having like momentous energy of something constantly moving forward. So that's kind of it's just literally, it's a very like simple thing, but having weekly, daily tasks towards X goal.
I started doing a bit of bullet journaling very similarly and
Yeah.
kind of just breaking things up like that. I think just for at least, if you have these big audacious visions, you can't just put that out there and go, okay, I hope it happens. You got to work toward it.
It's
the
like part of, so measurable is part of the SMART goals, right? And I
Mhm.
think A is achievable or attainable. And you want to make sure that you're setting out not only that you can measure the goal in front of you, but that it's attainable. What is like the daily ones?
and realistic is the other, the R and
Yeah.
the A, right? Those are
Yeah.
pretty key there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So a lot of the attention here that we've had together, as well as just the awesome independent work that you've done this year, is particularly focused on recurring giving, monthly giving.
Mhm.
Why is this different than your kind of traditional digital fundraising that we've seen in the past?
Well, I mean, recurring is steady, it's consistent, it's sustainable. Not to say that you can't and that you shouldn't use digital fundraising to propel your recurring giving, but I mean, we've had this conversation a lot. I strongly believe in a recurring first mentality with supporters and with organizations, and having that be literally, if not the signature pillar of your giving, that it is definitely one of the top that you are consistently talking about. um and that, I mean, your report just has exponential stats, right? To be able, there you go, exactly, the report,
Yeah,
thanks Chris.
we got it. We got it.
You got it.
We got it. And I'd love for keep folks, we got that gimbal. It's coming up in just a few minutes. I got pizza. I want to give away a pizza thing, not this, but I want to give some pizza away to somebody as a special surprise leading to our next thing. Let's add a few more names to this. Even drop, what are you doing for recurring giving? So, Dana,
Yeah.
let's kind of drill into this, because I want you to kind of finish what you're talking about here, and then lead into how are we supporting people with this. Is there something special that we're doing perhaps to kind of
We
focus our
are.
energies there? So again, what led you to recurring giving, and what are we doing to kind of think about the future there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it became a mission point for me where it is so much easier, and creates a more diverse donor base to have recurring giving because everyone can feel like a philanthropist. And at the end of the day, I think it's something that the CEO of St. Jude is saying right now is that if we can all just live more charitably, charitable living, then how is that going to create a ripple effect in overall change, right, in culture
Mhm.
and the world? And so I think recurring giving gives everyone that opportunity. There are $5 a month gifts, $10 a month gifts, things that are very attainable for anyone to feel like they are making a really conscious but impactful moment and impact for an organization. So I changed a lot of the work that I do to be recurring focused in the past 2 years. A, because I was seeing this culturally, from the subscription economy and what are we doing just as consumers with our money and buying subscriptions of things. And so why not have a subscription that every single day is doing something good? Like, no brainer, right? To make that decision. And then supporting organizations on not only how to structure them on the growth side and building them, but the retention is so important too. So that was my switch. I just felt like forever. Like, I worked for a nonprofit over a decade ago, and we are dealing with the same issues. I remember I was a marketing and development director. I was pushing the pavement all the time to get that new first ask all the time. And I don't ever think we did anything asking for a recurring gift back then. Like in
Mm.
2011, it wasn't even a thing that we talked about. Never, my ED never brought it up. Whereas now, obviously, it's much more talked about everywhere. But I think there's still some practices from back then that needs to change to allow recurring giving to really thrive. So I wanted to take my background in digital marketing and apply that to specifically this recurring giving environment.
So you mentioned a book, you mentioned masterminds, all these different things. How how can people start to get involved with some of the initiatives that you're doing? Because there's also something bigger coming. Oh, so wait, you're launching the book, because I didn't know the date of the book launch. So
I
you're launching
know.
the date of the book right before the monthly giving summit, which is September 5th and 6th, or 4th and
I've
5th
I
and
have
6th, 5th and 6th.
literally lost my mind.
Yeah, that's wild. So okay, talk about the book. We got a few minutes.
Yes. Okay.
Um,
So the book is The Monthly Giving Mastermind, and it's how to grow, build, and sustain subscriptions for good. And so it's literally welcoming everyone into the mastermind. If you're not familiar, a mastermind is a one or two or more people coming together for an idea brainstorming together to help one another. And so this is a monthly giving mastermind, and it all flows into the monthly giving summit. There's already 700 plus nonprofits registered. It's going to be 2 half days, so very like attainable to join, 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern, online, virtual, free. And I think what's really exciting is we are really like unveiling this I don't know if it's called shadow. I just feel like we don't know what actually makes a successful recurring giving program. It's like, ooh, I wish I knew what they were doing. I
Yeah.
wish I knew what they were doing. And that's what we're doing. There's going to be panels. There's some really amazing keynotes. And then day 2 is nothing but networking and breakout sessions to really get into the nitty gritty of what's happening at your organization. So I'm super excited and very grateful to Neon One for your support for that.
Well, we're thrilled to be a part of it, and just what kismet, like in terms
Yeah.
of, we said independently, you know what, let's do the largest analysis of recurring giving that's been done, and you're like, I'm gonna throw the only dedicated event.
Yeah, it's nothing. And this is the different thing, right? It's not just one session in a
No.
conference about recurring giving. The whole thing is talking about monthly giving.
Oh yeah, and we'll kind of collect these items, by the way, for resources. So just wanted to kind of recognize, like,
Oh, yeah, but
throwing
it's
some URL.
monthlyGivingSummit.com. Super
Yeah,
easy.
there you go. We posted the registration link, but it redirects if you go
Sweet.
monthlyGivingSummit.com as well.
Yeah. Sweet.
So what are some sessions that people can actually look forward to coming up?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, there's panel sessions on the 5. So in my book, I'm sharing the 5-step framework to build, grow, sustain a monthly giving program. And so there's a panel on each of those. Our opening keynoter is Marcus Collins. He's phenomenal. He's a professor out of Michigan.
I'm like, I
He
have
wrote the
his
book
book
For the
somewhere because,
Culture.
yeah, it's so good. Oh, you're gonna
Beat you
one
to
up me.
it.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And so he's going to talk about calling in your believers, which is really important, and how to
Yeah.
attract them. And then Ariana Unai is the head of LinkedIn for Nonprofits. She's keynoting. We have the head of subscriptions for Canva presenting all the way from Australia, which is wild. And then panel sessions with organizations that reflect who you are. It's peer driven. So we have organizations from Chamber of Mothers, the Hope Booth, Feeding or Nourishing Neighbors is a monthly giving program for Feeding Westchester, UNICEF, Charity Water, literally encapsulating if you are pre-launch for your monthly giving program, you're going to hear things for you. And then there's organizations registered that have 125,000 monthly donors, and there's going to be sessions for you. And I think the coolest thing is the breakout rooms are based on the size of your organization. So you are literally entering like a mini mastermind with your peers.
Yep.
With an expert to help brainstorm, and you get hot seats, and it's meant to be very actionable.
And if you experience Dream Big this week on Thursday, our Skills Expo, that's all the different sessions and stuff like that. Similar way it's going to work. So you'll get comfortable with the kind of the technology, but a completely different set of experts and things like that. Now,
Very cool.
there's one other final thing, because we're heading toward, we could talk forever, Dana, you and I.
I know.
But not everybody on the internet wants us to talk for you forever, because we want to win some stuff too. Now, there's another special thing that you're doing along with, I got to bring it up because I think it's so fascinating, and it deals with my little prop here. What is also happening relating to this little prop here? Not this prop, but what it represents, the pizza.
Of course, whenever we were planning an event, you always check what other events are happening during that time frame. What happens to be hashtag holidays? So in my marketing research, September 5th is International Day of Charity, which was important. But then I also scrolled down the hashtags and I was like, oh, it's also National Cheese Pizza Day. So I had to send a note to friends at Domino's. And so all of the VIP ticket holders are receiving free cheesy pizza delivered to them to eat during the monthly giving summit.
which is wild. So what I'll do is, for one winner, the gimbal today, Dana, as a special for you, I'll also buy that winner a cheese pizza.
Hey, there you go.
I'm buying them dinner, and they can use it to figure out how the gimbal works. So
there
it doesn't.
Beautiful.
I won't force it to be Domino's. By the way, if you want to do your local pizza place, we can do that. We'll figure that logistics out. But
beautiful.
Any final comments, folks? This is your time to make it meaningful. Don't just say, hey, and then because,
Hey,
that. But this has been such a pleasure, Dana. And I
thank you.
think that like we have so many resources that we're trying to share, and just that generosity that you bring to the sector, that openness and that passion and enthusiasm. I'm always like telling myself, how can I be as polished as Dana as well?
Oh gosh, I don't think it's polished. Tim, we're both real, and I think that's all people want.
Well,
Genuine, real,
there
and
you go.
that's you and me, man.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's get real serious about some giveaways right now. Dana, I want you to be able to announce the winner.
Ooh.
Have you seen this? Is this like a surprise for you? This is like our
I
wheel
have
of
seen Wheel of Names before. I feel like I have some cool effects on this. I wish I had my little like sound effects on this board. Chris, you would know more about this than I do. This
Oh,
fancy road switcher.
There's little sound effects when you spin the wheel. So
Oh, there you go.
Are we ready, folks? I see Meredith got in there, but she's already on here. And if you're on your organizational profile, that counts. We'll figure it out. So are we ready to spin, Chris? Or
Tim, we're just about ready. Before we do, I just want to remind everyone that if you don't win today, you have 4 more chances to win throughout the rest of this week.
Today's the only cheese pizza day, though. We're not doing cheese pizza the rest of the week. This is it.
Unless you come to Tim's session tomorrow and you remind him about the pizza.
Well, we'll see. If somebody brings the pizza up, maybe.
But this thing is so cool, Tim. You press the little button and it just flips right into place, and it'll keep your phone steady, whether you turn it vertical or horizontal there.
The stabilization is cool. And I think, like, Dana, real quick, so we're not going to drag this out, but like, what have you seen people do with video when it comes to their storytelling on what they can do with a piece like this?
Oh gosh. Well, it's amazing for event coverage. If you have an event, carry one of these guys around. You can do amazing interviews with them. It keeps it really steady because sometimes our hands, right? I don't know, they kind of shake
shaky.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really helpful for that. Live streaming, it's amazing to do a really clean, crisp live stream. And then if you're also going to do any
what was that moving just by the button?
Yeah, you steer it.
I'm
steer it with your thing. Yeah.
I feel like such an old man.
We use it on American Idol. Or if you're going to ever record like a slow-mo or go fast, it allows it to also be like real steady Yeti.
Okay. I just want to repeat that. This not specific one, but these are used on American Idol. Okay, folks? So not this specific one. We need to make it very clear. You're not winning an American Idol specific one. We're doing it. We're doing it. Dana, who's the winner?
Deanna. Congratulations. Are you here still with us?
Let's give her some love in the comments, even if not. But maybe. I don't know. Hopefully.
Well, congratulations, Deanna. Please do me a favor and send me a message. My name is Chris Strubb. I'm in the comments, and we will get your contact information and get that prize sent out to you. Again, if you did not win, we'll see you at Dream Big again tomorrow, Tim.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana, for joining us. We have
everyone.
Hey, Deanna's here. Yay! So there you go. Boom. Dana,
Awesome.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for watching Neon One on YouTube. Subscribe to keep up with all our upcoming videos, and check out another video right here.